song recently went viral on TikTok, introducing her to a new generation of fans.
Pretty little baby,
Connie Francis experienced more than her fair share of tragedy. She was sexually assaulted and robbed at knife point in 1974, then sued the hotel chain where the attack occurred. Born Conchetta Rosa Maria Franconero in Newark, New Jersey, Connie Francis was 87 years old. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-230-2777. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-230-2777. That's 800-230-2777. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-230-2777. 800-230-2777.
For 75 years, Murfreesboro Medical Clinic has been a cornerstone of health and compassion in our community. From our humble beginnings to the advanced, comprehensive care we offer today, our commitment to you has never wavered. With 8 locations across Murfreesboro and Middle Tennessee and over 100 physicians, we continue to provide the highest standard of care. Then, now, and always, your health is our mission.
9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, audio and video streaming at wgnsradio.com. This is the Roundtable. A look at the news, views, politics, and people that are shaping Rutherford County.
Good morning. This is Bill Krause on the WGNS Radio Roundtable, Thursday morning edition. A beautiful morning. Going to be a little hot, but hey, I ask people in February when it's 17 degrees. So what do you want? Warm weather. Well, you got it, folks. And I'll ask you now, when do you want cold weather? So weather is a subject we always talk about and always have our opinions. We are very, very pleased to have 2 young ladies here this morning who are representing a program that I recently learned about, and it's intriguing to hear. You know, there are men and women, thousands, who are working behind the scenes on so many activities to help keep our society safe. And today we have 2 people from the Kamari House, which we're going to learn all about. We have Emily McKee, who's the executive director for about the past 2 years. We're going to learn all about Emily. And she also has with her Madeline Kiger, the program director. So welcome, ladies. Here we are at the Roundtable.
Happy to be here.
Yeah. Always like to ask you, Emily, begin first. Give us a little bio about Emily. Born where, schooled where, worked other places, commitments and so forth.
Okay, so I am a native Rutherford County
That's
girl.
very rare.
Yes, I was born about a mile that direction. I was born on Bell Street back when there was a hospital there. And I have lived in Rutherford County my whole life. So I've lived in Smyrna, Murfreesboro, and Laverne. I've really
Elementary, middle, and high schools. Which ones?
All Smyrna.
All Smyrna.
And then I went to MTSU for my bachelor's, where I majored in psychology. I met my husband there. And then while I was working there, I got a job at Family and Children's Service in Nashville. I worked there for about 16 years. Started on their suicide hotline and answering 211 calls.
Wow.
Then went into some case management, working with relative caregivers and parents who were people who were taking care of their relatives' kids, so mostly grandparents.
You know, I was probably going to ask this later in the program, but I have to ask both of you even before we go on. Do you experience a burnout? I mean, if you were working a suicide line, Does it get to a point that you say it's like jumping in the ocean and I can't beat the wave? It's just going on and on and on and on. Do you get a burnout from the same issues and problems ongoing?
It's definitely possible. You meet a lot of people who used to be social workers, and that is exactly why. It's really important in this field to have managers and people who are in charge who understand what the work actually looks like and the toll that the work takes on the workers. I've been really lucky to work places where if you had a really hard call, you can turn your phone off and go sit in your manager's office or take 15 minutes and take a little bit of a breather before you come back and answer that next one. But it's really, really important for us to take care of ourselves and to have staff, especially leadership staff, that understand the importance of that so that we don't burn out.
And you're taking work home, though, mentally, aren't you? So if you had a day that really is the day, if anything was to go wrong, Mr. Murphy's Law was well in effect.
Absolutely.
And how do you walk into the house and your husband says, well, how was your day? Oh, it was wonderful. I'm so
great.
happy to see you,
Yes.
and so forth. No, I'm going to put something on the stove right now. It's going to be anger food.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
And, the longer that you do this, you kind of realize you have to make, to me, it's little rituals. So it's little things. Specifically when I worked on the suicide hotline, my radio was stolen out of my car. And so that 45-mile each way drive from Murfreesboro to West End was silent. Which was great. It allowed me 40 minutes on the way in to prepare for what I'm going into for the day, and then 40 minutes on the way home to cry, cuss, spit, open my sunroof and scream on the interstate if I need to. And that way when I get home, I can be a little bit more regulated.
And if traffic is backed up on the interstate, stop.
You get extra time to breathe when that happens.
I don't call it extra time. I call it anger time.
Yeah, so it is really hard. That's one of the things I feel like, especially the social work world has been working on in the past few years, is paying more attention. We pay a lot of attention to the people that we are caring for, the people who we're providing services for, but the service is no good if the service provider is exhausted and worn out and can't regulate their own nervous system, so they can't do their job properly.
And with you is Madeline Tiger. Madeline, you've also been with the program about 2 years, but give us a little brief history of who Madeline is.
So I was born in Davidson County, grew up in Laverne, lived in Laverne pretty much my whole life, but I did move to Chattanooga for my undergrad at UTC. I got my degree in social work. And then upon graduating, I worked for the Department of Children's Services in the adjacent, more rural counties to where Chattanooga is. I did that for about 2 years, and then I moved back to Middle Tennessee because I missed it here. And I was still doing DCS, but with Davidson County. And then I left there in the summer of 2021, and I was actually working in Williamson County Schools with their before and after program. And then I just missed doing social work, so I went back to school to get my master's degree. And when I graduated, I just found Kamari House. I had never known it existed until I applied.
Before we talk about Kamari House, and I'm going to initially ask the question, where'd the name come from, which I imagine many people will ask. Was there a Mr. Kamari, a Ms. Kamari?
There was. So we were.
There really was. I was being funny.
Oh no, we were started in 2012, and we have been named after a young man, a little boy. His name was Kamari Clark. He was 16 months old. His mom had come down here for the summer, and left him, or had come down here and left him with her mom to go back and finish school. And her mom had him for the summer and left him with her boyfriend, an unsafe caregiver, and within a couple of hours 911 was called, and he had been He died from child abuse.
Wow.
So we started this organization in his name because no child deserves that. He should still be here, and we believe that all children deserve to have a relationship with their caregivers in a safe manner. And so he actually, his picture is above the mantle when you walk into Kamari House. So we see him every morning. And he is the heart of what we do, is making sure that we do this work because no child should suffer the way that he did.
Exactly. Before we go on, Kamari House, are you born to be a social worker? Is it in your blood? Is it in your DNA? At what point, as a very small child, did you say, when I grow up, I'm going to be a social worker? No. At what point? Because the dedication, the commitment, the passion that men and women who are in this field probably is not equaled by any other profession. That's a great generalization on my part, but it's not, the men and women that I know, and I've known many, many folks who are either the present or in the past in social work, and it's so much in their heart, it's so much in their being. At what point did you know this is where your journey was going to take you?
I don't know if people are born to do it or not. I think, we're all shaped by our lived experiences, especially in childhood. And I've always enjoyed helping people. I've always wanted people around me to have the same opportunities to thrive. And I think it just got to a point I realized where it was really hard for me to do things that I didn't care about. So if there wasn't like a purpose, if I wasn't helping somebody or benefiting someone, then it was just really hard for me to commit to that.
Exactly. And how about you?
I was 8 the first time I remember someone asking me what I want to be when I grow up, and I was like, I want to be like a psychiatrist, but for kids.
At 8 years old, you were
we watched
using
a lot of Frasier.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And
Is that
all of those 80s
fascinating? That
shows.
was one of my favorite shows that would be influencing you. Was it Frasier or his brother? Or the dog?
Probably the dog,
The dog,
really.
okay.
But no, I remember, and it was like my 3 things were I want to do that, or I want to be a teacher, but I definitely want to be a mom. So those were my 3, and it's sort of all my life I can remember it sort of weaving through. I've always worked in sort of volunteered or done service work some way or another. I grew up in the church and did a lot of mission work while I was younger, and so it just sort of made sense. I actually went to MTSU starting out for history and business.
That's
And
an interesting combination.
was a really fun first year of C's.
Yes.
And I just didn't care. I was like, I really don't, I know these things, and I don't want to run a business, which is hilarious because now I do that.
You're doing it now,
but I don't want to run a business the way that these things, I was like, microeconomics, not for me. But yeah, it just sort of, I worked in sales before I worked in social work, and it was the same thing. I was like, I don't really care about selling this jewelry. Like, I would love to sell it if it's going to make them happy, but I don't want to sell this person something that's more than they can afford. And so I would get in trouble because I wouldn't max out people's credit. And I was just like, maybe this is
just not
for me. So when I finished school is when I moved into the social work world. And then in 2020 is when I went back to UT to get my master's.
Fantastic. Let's talk about Kamari. Background, how it began, its function, its mission, just the good who, what, where, why, and when.
Do you want to start? You do this spiel all the time.
So at Kamari House, our mission is to build healthy families, informed communities, and resilient children. The reason we exist is because the research shows that a child maintaining the relationship they have with their caregiver helps their brain development and will benefit their lifelong health.
At a very, very young age, I'm assuming.
Yes, the younger
the
child is, the faster
the
their
impact.
their brain is developing. And so if that maintaining the relationship can be done in a safe and stable environment, we believe that it will benefit the child. So Kamari House exists to provide that safe and conflict-free environment.
And even if we're separated from our parents, even when we're 30, 40, 50, we still want to know how our mama and daddy are doing.
Sure.
And so the children that we see are separated by a parent, typically by the courts. So one parent has been deemed unsafe or maybe has never parented before. And so the courts will order this because they want to make sure that the parent has rights to see their child. And they want to make sure that they can do that in a safe manner. And so they send them to us, and we monitor their interactions in our playhouse that's right off of the square. And so we help them a lot of the times they've either never had a relationship. Sometimes we've had parents who've not seen their child in 5, 6, 7 years.
Oh, wow.
And so it's really difficult. They come in here, and we just don't really know what to expect. And so we're there to kind of help them navigate and make sure that child has a worthwhile relationship with their parent without all of the conflict that goes on between the adults, because the adults, we're here because of the adults. And because one or two of the adults have made some poor decisions, and it's not that child's fault.
I'm assuming that both parents are never there at the same time.
They never cross paths. We treat every family like there is a restraining order, and so they never even get to lock eyeballs. So we have lots of safety protocols, we have so many rules, but they are there for the safety of the children first and foremost, and the safety of everyone in the house. So we work to protect both their physical and their psychological and emotional safety too.
Let's go back, as you were saying, Kamari grew out of the fact that a program was discontinued in Davidson and Rutherford. What was that all about?
Historically, the Family Center the Family Center and Exchange Club was based out of Davidson, and in 2012 they just stopped doing the program. In October of 2012 they decided it was not, they may have had a funding cut, but something happened, and the families that they served, there were about 30 families, were given about 4 weeks notice that this service that you're using, where your child is dependent upon this service to see their potentially unsafe parent, is discontinued, and there is no one else who does it. So because we do this, it's just kids who are not in care. These are families who are often low income, parents who are in really high conflict, and this is not a service that's done in an affordable way for those families. So when they abruptly discontinued the program, Davidson and Rutherford County juvenile court judges and a bunch of our family law friends contacted our founding board and said, figure this out. And so they spent the next year or two figuring it out. Had the founding board been involved in something else, or had there been a group? Or they were all people who had been involved with different parts of the organization. So like our two founding co-executive directors had both worked there historically. One of them was the program director, that when they cut the program, they cut him and all of the staff. And so our founders were Tanya Hobbs and Jeff Pooster, and so Tanya basically had to get it started because he was let go, and all of his staff was let go, and so she and the other people on our founding board sort of scrambled to put this together. You know, we had the roadmap, we have all of the information on how to do it, we just didn't have a location. So they spent the first, I guess, year and a half borrowing space from friends, lawyers, or not lawyers, but like, you know, above a dentist office, anywhere that we could find somewhere that was cozy, that has couches, that we could bring toys into play. And so they did that until we were able to find the location on Spring Street about 11 years ago. Now, I'm assuming a similar program has been established at the same time in Davidson? Absolutely not. Are you serious? No, we are the only nonprofit sliding scale providers of supervised visitation for non-DCS families. We serve Davidson County families. Oh, do you? Okay, so there's not a void, total void. We don't have a bunch of them because apparently it's a really far drive from Nashville to Murfreesboro. We would love to have more. It's a psychological drive as well as a geographic drive. It ain't that bad on the weekends, though. And we do visits on the weekends. So if anyone's in Davidson County and needs the service, give us a call. Wow. What's that phone number? 615-956-6106. Once again, so the people who have to find a pen or pencil to write. 615-956-6106. And we'll be repeating the number later in the hour. Walk us through, and I know there's not what's known as a typical case or a typical child. Everyone is an individual. But walk us through what a norm might be
when the courts have made a decision, the courts have set a directive, I'm assuming an attorney representing one of the parents may be involved. Just walk us through a case and where they are, what they do, when they come for the first time, child's acknowledgement, child's participation. Just carry us through a before we do that, we have to pay some bills.
Yes.
So Brian, if we want to take a commercial or two, and then let's walk us through on a journey through your wonderful, wonderful program.
For 75 years, Murfreesboro Medical Clinic has been a cornerstone of health and compassion in our community. From our humble beginnings to the advanced, comprehensive care we offer today, our commitment to you has never wavered. With 8 locations across Murfreesboro and Middle Tennessee and over 100 physicians, we continue to provide the highest standard of care. Then, now, and always, your health is our mission.
Patch Thrift Shop on Spring Street across from the tall downtown NHC building in Murfreesboro. Our competitive prices and quality selection make it easy to find exactly what you need. And here's the best part, 100% of your purchase supports Greenhouse Ministries, helping over 70 families a day. When you shop at the Garden Patch, you're not just getting a deal, you're making a difference. The Garden Patch Thrift Shop on Spring Street in Murfreesboro.
This is Chip Walters, and I'm honored to be your 2024 MTAR Realtor of the Year. I'm with Exit Realty Bob Lamb & Associates, and like many of you, I've seen the real estate market shift and change. People often ask, Chip, what's really going on? Well, that's a great question, and I believe in answering with solid, factual data. So let's cut through some of the noise. I invite you to reach out. Let's have a conversation about your real estate goals and the current market trends in your neighborhood. You can find all my contact information at choosechip.net.
For 75 years, Murfreesboro Medical Clinic has been a cornerstone of health and compassion in our community. From our humble beginnings to the advanced, comprehensive care we offer today, our commitment to you has never wavered. With 8 locations across Murfreesboro and Middle Tennessee and over 100 physicians, we continue to provide the highest standard of care. Then, now, and always, your health is our mission.
Good Neighbor Events is brought to you by the law offices of John Day, AmeriCare Pest Control, and Old National Bank.
Get old. Old National Bank, that is. Old National Bank has the experience and service you need to buy a home, make investments, even online and mobile banking. Old National Bank is in the borough on Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard.
Old National Bank at 2230 Dr. MLK Jr. Boulevard, which used to be Mercury Boulevard.
Visit us and enjoy warm, homemade cookies at Old National Bank.
Old National Bank, equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Now, WGNS Good Neighbor Events. This is the weekend for A Taste of Rutherford. It's the annual fundraiser for Main Street, Murfreesboro. Over 25 restaurants offer you the best on their menu, and it's on the lawn at Oakland's Mansion. This coming Saturday night, 6 until 9. Get in touch with Main Street, Murfreesboro. Maybe you just moved here and want to learn more about local history. Well, you need to head over to the one-room Ransom Schoolhouse this Saturday morning. Members of the Historical Society will be there to answer your questions. It's all free, including the coffee and donuts. Well, you need to drop by the old one-room Ransom Schoolhouse anytime this Saturday morning between 9 and noon. Ransom School is at 717 North Academy Street. Now listen closely. The new date for Greenhouse Ministries Fix-It Fair and Bike Repair will be Saturday, July 26th. It's a week away. That's from 8 in the morning until noon on Saturday, July 26th at Greenhouse Ministries. Those are WGNS Good Neighbor Events.
Rutherford weather.
A heat advisory goes into effect this afternoon. A few spotty showers and storms possible late this afternoon. A blend of clouds and sunshine develops with a high in the mid-90s. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki on News Radio WGNS.
Currently, it's 77.
WGNS is powered by Middle Tennessee Electric. MTE's Drive EV program has resources for members who would like to learn more about all aspects of EVs. MTE is developing programs and educational materials to answer member questions. Learn more at driveev.com.
This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Listen and watch at wgnsradio.com.
This is Bill Krause on the second segment of the WGNS Radio Roundtable, Thursday morning edition. And we're having a very interesting and, to me, very motivating visit with two folks from the Kamari House. You know, I wondered why they didn't call it Kamari Home instead of house. You know, home has a little different. Yeah. House has a structure. Mm-hmm. Home has a warm fire in the fireplace.
You know,
don't change the name now, but
no, my bet would probably be that the goal was for us to have a house that felt like a home.
So it's a structure, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So we have Emily McKee, who is the executive director. About the past 2 years, brings to Kamari House a very, very impressive background in aspects of reaching out. And again, my heart goes out to anybody who works, for example, on the suicide line and so forth. And with Emily, we have Madeline Kiger, and she's the program director also with Kamari House about 2 years. So just before the break, we asked Emily and our Madeline visitor of walk us through if there's such a thing as a typical case, beginning with the court, and the court makes a judgment and how that judgment is implemented.
Absolutely. So the families that come to us have really been through the ringer. They are typically...
And the children as well.
And the children.
Yes,
well, yes. And that is why we're here.
Yes.
We're here to help the children have these relationships without the grown-up problems that come around them. Mm-hmm. But so typically the families that we see have either been in divorce court or in separation and are seeking custody of their children. They've often, one or both of the parents has been deemed unsafe by the courts, whether that is because of substance use or incarceration, or physical abuse or neglect,
domestic violence,
any of these things. And so typically they are in really, really high conflict divorces, like the people that when you go to mediation, it lasts 30 seconds because we're screaming at each other and then we're just going to try again later. A lot of the time, the parents are toxic together, and we do think it's possible to be two good parents who are not good together. And so what happens is they will go through court. There will be a divorce.
But there could be one good parent and one bad parent, and how you deal with the bad parent who is legally accessible to a child a portion of time.
Yes. So in Tennessee, you can't terminate a parent's rights without going through all of these different things. And so ordering supervised visitation is one of the only ways that the judges can make sure that these kids are safe, is if somebody is watching their parent, because the parent has made a series of judgment lapses that have made them problematic, either potentially for safety, either physical or emotional safety for that child. So they will go and the judge will say, you get to see your child only supervised by professional monitors and supervision, and you have to do it with this organization. And so they will send directly to us.
18.
Yes, we serve babies through moving to college. We've actually had kids that aged out, turned 18, and kept coming until they moved away to college because it was such a safe space for them. And she didn't know her daddy outside of our walls, and she had had a 10-year relationship with him, and it was still just those little baby steps of safety. So they come to us oftentimes with a list of referrals or a list of hoops to jump through. And so we recognize that we're often their 10th call of the day. They are exasperated. They have called all of these places because they didn't really get a lot of referrals or direct contacts. And we're named in the court order. And so sometimes they call us and they're really frustrated and, well, I have to pay you to come see my kid. And we are always trying to frame it for them as we're here to facilitate your interaction with your child. We're not here to keep you from it. We're here to make it positive, because a lot of these parents don't have the parenting understanding. They don't, it's just not connecting. Or, I haven't seen my kid in 6 years. I don't know what to do with an 8-year-old girl. Last time I saw her, we were playing
just a baby.
Yeah, we were just barely holding baby dolls. So how do I even interact here? So they come to us often not excited. Nobody walks in our front door like thrilled to be there.
They don't sing and
they don't.
Oh, what a beautiful day!
But eventually, we kind of come around to everybody realizing that we're all here so that your child can see you, not to keep you from them, but to make sure that when they look back in 20 years, that these memories inside of our little box are positive for them, because really, that's all we've got.
And the memories of the children are positive toward both parents. Regardless, do you have many multi-families, more than one child in the program to see? Do they meet with the parent as a brother-sister or on a one-on-one?
Both.
Oh.
So we do the intake process. The visiting parent is who calls us first, because the onus is completely on them, as they are the one court-ordered. So they call us and we do a phone intake and
go through. Are they grouchy?
Sometimes.
Yes.
We love it when they're not.
Oh, of course.
But, we understand. Like, you have probably called 5 other places, because if you didn't get our direct name, you've Googled this service and you've called somebody that said, yeah, we'll do it, $1,800 intake and $300 an hour.
Wow.
And so you're calling us like, oh, these people are going to help me. But that's literally what we're there for. So our service is sliding scale, and our prices are literally just enough so that we can keep it going, and we fundraise to fill the gaps, because most of our families pay. The service really costs about $200 to $250 an hour to provide, and our families pay an average of $25 an hour.
You're funded through the county, the state?
We are funded through grants and fundraising. So we have a little bit of state money, and then the rest of it is through we get funding through the Rutherford Opioid Board. They have been really great to work with, and it sort of allow us to be creative with what we're doing. And then we also get funding from the Community Development Block Grant. So Murfreesboro City, Rutherford County, we get a little money from, and then everything else is from trusts or grants or fundraisers that we have 2 or 3 of a year.
So it's the first day, the first visit. Describe it from your experience, and of course it would vary child to child, parent to parent, but is there a norm that you would see that they come in separately, or the parent that is the on-site parent brings the child, drops them off, and then the other parent comes in? Does that create a collision course out in front of the house?
Does not.
Okay.
No, we do it backwards.
How's that?
It's a staggered arrival and departure.
Oh, okay.
So the visiting parent arrives before the visit, so they're already there in the back of the house.
Okay, so they're not in the car parked on the street,
right,
waiting to see, and then...
Yeah, absolutely not. And then the custodial parent pulls in the driveway. Our staff goes out to retrieve the child and bring them in for the visit, and then the custodial parent leaves until
And the visit is about how long?
They're about 2 hours. We do 1 hour for the first visit, just to make sure that everything
is compatible.
Yeah, it's going to go smoothly and just smooth out any hiccups. But those first visits
they're tense-ish, but our last few, like, sometimes they're tense, especially with older kids, and you just don't know, like, if they're mad. If they're mad and they're going to come in and be ready to cuss their parent. But then we've had others where, like, we've had parents that a dad that hadn't seen his boys in several years, and we were all just sort of like, we're not sure how this is going to go. The boys walked in and he was like, hi, and they were just like, yay, so sometimes
I have to ask you this,
really
do you
lovely.
have a big box of Kleenex in the room? For
Every
tears?
room.
For tears, okay.
We
No,
do,
for tears,
yes.
not for a sneeze, but for tears.
Yeah.
I imagine there would be tears. Even the most hardened parent who hasn't seen their baby
Absolutely.
in a period of time has an emotion.
And they're nervous.
We're all nervous because we want you to do well. We,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and we've gone through all of these rules. We've told you, you better not do all of these things,
Mm-hmm.
and we're here to make sure you don't. And so those first visits, the parents are always really nervous.
Physical
We're a little
touch,
bit,
can they hug? Can they?
if the children are okay with it.
Okay.
So
Or the
kids
child.
are in charge.
Oh, talk about that as we're going through this process. They get to select, or they get to decide whether this is where they want to have their meeting.
So we do a child orientation, which is basically just a chance for the child or children to come in and get a tour of the house, kind of get familiar with where they might be. They do get to say, oh, when I see my dad, I want to make slime with him, or I want to play the Nintendo Switch with him. So that will kind of determine what room in the house they're in.
So each room is geared to a different age level. Okay.
Yep.
So you don't put a 15-year-old in with blocks and puzzles and
No.
things. Okay.
Yep.
I see that.
And they get a chance to, you know, depending on the age of the child, we're like, do you know who you're going to see here? And we ask them how they feel about that. Sometimes it's great. Sometimes they're a little bit hesitant, or they have some questions or concerns that we need to talk through. And most of the time it ends up going well, and they do want to see their parent. Of course, every once in a while there are children that refuse, and we are not going to make a child do anything against their will.
Sure.
We'll ask them to give it a try,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, and, you know, sometimes, especially with older kids, they're nervous, and it's like, I think I can do it, and you get to the front door on the day of your first visit, and maybe you can't. Maybe you're just, the butterflies are too big, and we understand. Nobody's going to be mad at you. We will walk you right back to that car, high-five you, see you next time.
Sure.
And then we will go and let that parent know today's visit's not happening once that child and parent are fully out of the perimeter.
Is
of the
there, and this is
organization.
certainly a generalization, so excuse me for the generalization, when you look at the age brackets, beginning with the infants, the babies, and working up to the pre-K, and working up the 6 to 9 year old, and working up and so forth, could you say professionally, is there an age bracket that, from your experience, is most difficult to work through than another age bracket, or does it vary from person to person to person? I mean, an 8-year-old is a very curious, has a certain knowledge, a certain level of experience, a certain amount of curiosity, but also has a certain amount of emotional levels that have to be addressed. So you're having the collision between their emotion at 8, 9 years old and what they bring to the room, what they bring to the table.
Right.
That's, I'm saying this totally as a non-professional, but
I think that is kind of the age where kids start having questions, where they're enjoying the visits, they like coming to Kamari House, they're so happy to see their mom or dad, but
do they
why
ever
are
ask,
they there?
Why aren't you and mommy together? I imagine that question is asked by a particular child who wonders, were they responsible for the break? Were they responsible for a divorce or the separation? And a lot of smaller children get a guilt complex.
Absolutely.
And, so you have someone in the room at the whole time. Describe, are they interns, social workers?
They are expertly trained staff who have been doing this for anywhere from 5 to 17 years.
Wow.
They are the majority of our staff. So I told you we started when the Family Center and Safe Exchange Club in Nashville and Davidson and Rutherford quit doing this in 2012.
Well, when you said Exchange Club, so this ultimately started out through the backing of a nonprofit business organization, Exchange Club like Rotary or Kiwanis or Lions.
Yes.
So this began as a club project and evolved to itself that it got out of their control.
Yeah, well, and they actually, the Exchange Club of Rutherford County is still one of our supporters. They do a fundraiser every year that raises money for us and for the Family Center still, since we took that program over. So they have a fundraiser that is their, what is it? It's Celebrity Waiters Dinner in September.
Ooh.
And so we just sort of go and talk about what we do a little bit, and they help us to raise some funds through there. So, but our staff, like I said, we've got 10 women who are weekend monitors and supervisors, and of those 10, I think 8 of them have been with us for at least almost 10 years. They were the OGs. They were the ones that were hired in 2000, 8, 9, 10.
So they came over from the other program.
So we were able to recruit a lot of them after the time period of separation had cooled down, and these women are the absolute goats at this stuff. There is nobody who knows how to do this better. I do my job to support them to do their job, not to tell them how to do their job, because I know that if one of them left, we're done, because they are the institutional knowledge, they are the protectors, and some of these babies that we see are their kids as much as they're anybody else's, because we are, for some families, our staff are the consistency,
the focal point of
every other week that
yes.
they know Miss Jackie is getting them out of the car, and they're going to be hanging out with Miss Melissa or Miss Melanie and their mama or their daddy. And so
we're still on the first day.
Oh yeah, first
I haven't
day.
journeyed first day, and someone walked them out and walked them into the house for the first time. I walked them into the room that fits their age and category. What happens next? And the parent is in there.
Oh, yes. I got to see.
Oh, go for it.
2 or 3 weeks ago, we've had 3 or 4 new families open recently. And a few weeks ago, I got the pleasure of working on the weekend to do a first visit for some kiddos that we had just started with. And they're just little bitties, super precious. And so you walk into our building and there's a hallway, and the visitation rooms are kind of at the end of the hallway. So we walk down the hallway, and that's where we have a little piano mat that you walk down if it's out that plays music as you go. We shake our jitters out, and then we open the door, and it's the monitor and the parent are in there, and we get to hear Mommy and see them throw their hands up and run and jump on her.
But that's a smaller, you don't see that too often with a 16 or 17-year-old, or do you?
Occasionally.
You could.
Occasionally. They're a little bit too cool by 16 or 17 to do that often.
Yeah, but they mostly inside.
But 10 to 12-ish and under, we're always nervous at that first visit, but having that door open and them yell and run and jump on their parent and be so excited to see them and is just, that's the part that makes it all worth what we're doing.
Well, where I'm coming from is I just completed assisting a program in East Nashville, and it basically was a summer youth program for very disadvantaged children. Okay. And when I say disadvantaged, I'm probably speaking as much emotionally disadvantaged as financially. And the categories was 6 to 8, 9 to 11, 12 to 13. And in the 6 weeks that I was working with them for 4 hours a morning, each group develops a certain amount of protection against the world. And dealing with the 11 and 12-year-old was a very difficult task. And I'm not a social worker, I'm a political scientist, so it was quite different. And they build up such a amount of protective walls against the world, and to try to break that. So I'm wondering, on that first visit, even though they missed their mommy or they missed their dad and what have you, was there enough protective wall that went boing, 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 just sit still, don't make an expression?
Sometimes it takes a few visits to break down those walls. Sometimes, a preteen and a parent sitting together at the same table, each independently working on a craft, is a successful visit, because it may start out that way, but you'd be surprised at what a little bit of consistency can accomplish. And I'd say most of the time that child usually becomes more comfortable.
Is there a normal length of time that somebody's through this program, an average, or does it go till the child's 18 and they're legally not part of the process?
What I've noticed is, sometimes courts will give the parent a specific number of visits. So the lowest amount is probably 8 to 12 visits. And sometimes it's just they have supervised visitation until they were to petition the court for something else. So probably 8 to 12 visits minimum, up to about a year and a half maybe is the average that I've seen in the last 2 years.
And can you relate back to how the visits were at the end versus how they were at the beginning? Was it just a common every other week bond? It was as look forward to as anything else in their lives?
It's to watch the transformation is really fantastic. We have been doing surveys with our parents and with both parents, so the visiting parent, who's the one that comes to see them, and the custodial, to measure, like, how did this impact your mental health, and how do you feel like it impacted your child? And then also, can you report on your perceived understanding of the child's comfort? And then we have our observations, obviously, but it is like watching people go from just like super rigid, we're all just holding our breath, to we're just hanging out, and what do you mean 2 hours is up? We're not done with this game of air hockey, and we're still working on our snacks. We've had people who just recently we had a family that graduated, meaning they don't need us anymore, which is what we want, and we want to never see you again.
Have you seen
great,
reconciliation along the way? Any?
Between parents?
Between parents. And you're not directly involved in it because you're not seeing them together. But did the reinforcement of the visiting parent through the experience of the child suddenly say, you know, I want to put the pieces back together? Did you ever?
I don't know that we've had that happen. They will slowly sort of get to where, when they're really high conflict families, and we've had them for a while, and we've all sort of chilled out. Our goal is for this to make co-parenting easier.
Yes.
So, you know, you guys can't talk to each other because you don't get along. That's fine. We will coordinate the visits. We will make sure that if one of you is bringing something, the other knows about it. We make sure all of the rules are followed. So our goal is for this to make it less stressful on them, and it often does. And so we typically see people who move from our service to getting weekends or doing just like 1 or 2 days where they get the kids, or they get unsupervised for Saturday afternoons. And so at that point, the parents have gotten to the point where they can see each other and pass off the child for custody exchanges.
So there could be some direction. I would assume, because we are certainly a rapidly growing and a rapidly changing community, cultural differences. Are you dealing with parents who come from a significantly different culture and dealing with what the culture directs them or they expect to operate with their child?
Yeah, absolutely. So recently we've had an influx of clients who don't speak English as their first language. So we've had to contract with interpreter services, and we've been lucky to be able to do that and be able to serve these families. And yeah, a lot of times there are cultural differences, and we just talk through those expectations. Like, what do you think a visit is going to look like? What do you want a visit to look like? And we just kind of have to balance that with our safety standards and the expectations of the custodial parent.
I mean, I'm glad you have an interpreter. I could see a parent in there speaking a native language that is not necessarily a common native language to our ears, and they're saying things to the child that, why is the child getting upset?
Yeah,
why is the child getting
definitely
angry?
avoiding that.
What kind of verbiage is being used and so forth, which I think that'd be a difficult. As we go into our remaining moments, which aren't that many, see how fast time goes quickly. I'll ask a weird question. Have any of the juvenile judges that you work with visited and saw the actual experience?
Yes. So
I mean, that would be marvelous if they did.
When we first opened the location that we have on Spring Street in 2014, Judge Sheila Calloway and her entire team, all of her magistrates, came down here to check us out.
Really? Okay.
And they're in the process of building a new juvenile center in Nashville.
Right.
And I've spoken with them. And what was funny is I was talking to one of her staff before she knew who I was. And she was like, we've talked about it, and we want the space to look like Kamari House. And I was like,
Oh,
I can help you with that.
Wow.
But then also Travis Lampley, Judge Lampley in Rutherford County, he is where we get the majority of our referrals. He really understands the importance of keeping these kiddos safe and protecting their relationship with their parents. And so he is really great whenever we don't really even have to do a whole lot of outreach to him anymore, at the point where when these come across his desk, he's like, just send them to Kamari House, because he knows that we will handle it and we will make sure that the children are safe the entire time.
Do you ever have an alumni come back, either a parent or a child, and said, this had a real impact? I look back in life.
We have a couple of our former kiddos that volunteer with us now. They're getting their hours for their school.
Phenomenal.
And we love that. We would never ever identify them, but it's always exciting when we hear from them. And then every now and then we'll hear from parents later. We're all from here. So you run into somebody at the store, or we'll do our follow-up call a few months after they've closed, and they'll say, this was super helpful for me. We've had someone actually with our last round of surveys who was saying that we were the only people who ever treated him like a person.
Wow.
And he was struggling with substance use when he started seeing his kids with us, and now he's a CPRS, where he supports other people in that same position.
That speaks well. Before we take our last break, you have a relationship with MTSU as far as internships?
We do.
Great. And I doubt that. Does Motlow have any?
I don't know that they do internships.
Community service under the state funding, their community service, but I think this might be the level that's a little out of the reach at this point.
Yes, we have, right now we're averaging about 4 interns at a time, and they're from both MTSU and UT College of Social Work. We have one right now from Walden.
Oh, great.
Too. So we are always interested in interns. As I told you, we're the only 2 weekday girlies at the office, which means that we do everything during the week, and our staff on the weekends literally just do the monitoring. So we always
sing besides together when you're working together. You sing.
Sing?
Sing, yes. Oh, what a great day.
Oh, of course.
What a wonderful person. We'll be right back before we conclude with these special words.
For 75 years, Murfreesboro Medical Clinic has been a cornerstone of health and compassion in our community. From our humble beginnings to the advanced, comprehensive care we offer today, our commitment to you has never wavered. With 8 locations across Murfreesboro and Middle Tennessee and over 100 physicians, we continue to provide the highest standard of care. Then, now, and always, your health is our mission.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like to check the GPS directions first, before driving to the mall.
Turn right at the light. In 1,000 miles, you will reach Montreal.
Not Montreal, the mall.
Recalculating. 6,000 miles to Nepal.
No, the mall.
Checking first is smart.
Recalculating.
So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Switching to Progressive is a game-winning call. And that reminds us of other game-winning calls in the history of sports.
It was a doubleheader in August and really hot inside the concession stand. So instead of waiting for people to come to me, I figured I'd walk around yelling, "Hot dogs here!" And that's how I became the first hot dog vendor in sports.
Okay, not really a game-winning call, but it was a good call. You can make one too. Switch to Progressive and you could save hundreds. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, not available in all states.
Are you tired of feeling like just another number with your insurance provider? At Rayburn Insurance Agency in Smyrna, Agent Rick Hall prides himself on offering personalized service that puts you first. Every client's needs are unique. From personal home and auto coverage to tailored business insurance, Rick Hall's got you covered. Rick Hall at Rayburn Insurance Agency in Smyrna, where you're more than just a policy number. You're a neighbor.
This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Listen and watch at wgnsradio.com.
Bill Krause in the concluding moments of the WGNS Radio Roundtable, Thursday morning edition. And we've been visiting with Emily McKee, the Executive Director of the Kamari House right here in Murfreesboro, and her Program Director, Madeline Kiger, and learned a lot about it. But in the remaining moments, two things. Do a shout out for your 10-member board of directors, men and women who volunteer their time, their effort, and their money to assist in the program. And then talk about upcoming event or events that you'd like the community to be part of.
Fantastic. Yes, I will shout out our board members. Our board chair is Lisa Deal of First Bank. Our secretary is Andy Helton. And then our treasurer is Roy Thurman of Redstone. And then our other members are, we've got Tanya Hobbs. She was one of our founding executive directors. She's a social work professor at MTSU, formerly MTSU and TSU. So she's a wealth of knowledge, and also she built this place. So. Tommy Roberts, Detective Tommy Roberts, is on our board. He is actually the detective who worked Kamari's case.
Oh, wow.
So we pulled him on. We've got Regina Turner and Meredith Sterling, and then Chase Salas, as well as one of our local favorite adoption attorneys, Rochelle Windrow Ayers. So that is our board. They are fantastic. They have done a great job since I've been here for the past couple of years. Oh, and Angie. Oh, I missed her. She was right in the middle. I'm so sorry, Angie, if you're listening. I love you. But they've done a really great job. I recognize that I am very energetic. I have lots of really big ideas. I came from a behemoth where I learned so many different things, and they have done a good job of kind of holding on to their seats and following along, and it's been really kind of fun to get to do. Super supportive and just really great at connecting us with the community.
And how can the community be involved?
We always love volunteers, but we've also got a series of different fundraisers that we do. Our Building Brighter Futures Breakfast, because I love alliteration, but I can't actually speak. Building Brighter Futures Breakfast is coming up on October 28th. It'll be at Redstone on Medical Center from 7:45 to 9. We have sponsorship possibilities from $250 to $7,500. So if you know of anyone who is looking to get their logo on a coffee mug with us and be the presenting sponsor, I would love to hear from them. That number is 615-956-6106.
One more time.
615-956-6106. But we would love for if anybody who's interested in getting involved in basically child abuse prevention and helping the kiddos that we work with and the parents that we work with to be better for one another so that our kids grow up safer and healthier and stronger. We would love to partner with them.
Off the top of your head, and if you don't have the off the top of your head answer, I'll understand. Roughly how many families do you think you've served in the 13 years of your...
Hundreds.
Or thousands? Could it be more like...
Probably.
If I figure out the amount you normally do on a regular basis, carry that out for 13 years...
Yeah.
That's a long time.
We did, with just our 10 weekend staff and just weekend visits in our one location last year, we did over 455 hours of visitation.
Wow.
So
wow.
That's 455 hours of tea parties and dress up and Mario Kart wars and baking cookies, where these kids got to connect with their parents that they otherwise wouldn't have had the opportunity for.
That is phenomenal. Well, we thank you so very, very much. Emily I was going to say McPhee. I'm thinking of MTSU, but Emily McKee. You're not too far away from MTSU's
Close enough.
president.
I'll take it.
Okay, when he comes, I'll say a McKee and a McPhee can get together. And Madeline Kiger, who is so good to ultimately meet. Madeline, you know there was a song written about 130 years ago that was seriously a top song called Paddlin' Madeline Home.
Really?
So if you ever want to get on YouTube and there are any of your little toys and listen to Paddlin' Madeline Home.
Absolutely.
You know, so thank you so very much, and you have been a inspiration in the major societal effort on not only mental health but emotional health, putting people together, giving people a purpose, creating a positive influence in their lives. I always have a special thank you. Not just a first provider, you are a long-term provider. God bless you, and we certainly wish you the very, very best.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thanks
much.
for having us.
See you.